Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, welcome everyone to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2025, and it's great to be with you here on another fantastic episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Looks like my glasses were getting a little bit in my collar there. But anyway, it's great to have you here. For those of you who don't know, this is series number 4. And this is actually show number, yes, it's show number 8. And our topic for this week's JMOR Tech Talk Show is AI breakthroughs, cybersecurity, shocks, and game-changing tech. 15 must-know stories this week that I'm going to share with you. And incidentally, today is a special day for me, so I am traveling if you guys didn't notice and recognize different backgrounds if you're watching instead of listening only. Today is a special day for me. Today is my birthday. So I am recording this show here today and hoping you're enjoying the live broadcast of this episode as well as the others that I put out there. It's so great to be with you guys. Now being here, can you believe that we are in, yes, the series of the 4th series this year? I mean, we're already past 3. This is amazing. So thank you so much for watching the show and all the great comments that we get. Really do appreciate that. So I am your host, ladies and gentlemen, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, not only a podcast host, but also a podcast coach. And I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Incidentally, if you are hungry, and I don't want you also to be parched, so feel free to go grab yourself maybe a beverage, maybe a hot one, a cold one, maybe something healthy from the fridge, or maybe just something sweet to eat. All right. So this week, I'm diving into some of the game-changing stories that are shaking up the industry, from Amazon's massive settlement to Tesla's Cybertruck controversy and TikTok's return to US app stores. You need to hear all this, trust me. Plus, is Apple in trouble in Germany? And what's next for Meta, Intel, and Spotify? You definitely don't want to miss one beat of today's show. So you can always catch the latest episodes right here. Or if you missed anything, you can always go back to believemeachieve.com 24 hours a day and replay anything that you have all possibly missed and would like to catch up on. So let's just kick right into our very first story. I think you guys are going to find this to be a very, very interesting one. And that is the Amazon issue. Yes, Amazon settles a $4 million driver tip lawsuit. Amazon has agreed to pay $4 million to settle claims that it withheld tips from its Flex drivers. The lawsuit alleged that Amazon misled customers into thinking their tips went directly to drivers, when in reality, the company used a portion to offset wages. This settlement serves as a warning to gig economy platforms about transparency and fair compensation for workers. I know I had heard about another challenge. It hasn't been in the news lately, but it was in the past, and that was Grubhub. Grubhub was not being very fair to its drivers. So it's not just Amazon, right? I think the economy and the new type that we have now, which is this kind of, work at your own pace whenever you want to work type of thing, it's different. Of course, it has some rules. But again, Grubhub and others were, let's say, misusing the tips. And so this is really bad. Because, the weird thing is that the customers want to do something nice, right? So, and then finding out that the tip they left, they only got $6 from. I think that's a big problem. And I think the companies that are doing this, whether it's Amazon, Grubhub, whoever you are, Postal Work, Postmate, I think they should be ashamed of themselves because robbing and stealing from your staff members when they're actually risking their lives to go out and drive for you is just an atrocity. So I'm not really very pleased with that. I lost respect for Amazon a long time ago, but this Amazon driver lawsuit really takes the case. Amazon faced multiple lawsuits from delivery drivers, including claims about withheld tips, wage violations, and also working conditions. Not to get in there too much, but in 2022, the District of Columbia's Attorney General sued Amazon for allegedly withholding tips from delivery drivers. Amazon settled the lawsuit for $3.95 million, which included penalties and costs. Amazon also agreed to be more transparent about how it uses tips. Amazon previously paid $61.7 million to settle a similar lawsuit with the Federal Trade Commission. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I think these companies are just being a little bit greedy. That's probably the best thing. And now with another class action lawsuit, which is actually being handled by a law firm that is trying to make people aware of things that Amazon has done inappropriately, such as they may have failed to pay minimum wages for all hours worked. They may have failed to pay expenses like gas and cell phone usage, failed to pay overtime rates if you worked over 40 hours per week, or failed to pay missed meals and rest breaks. And this has been brought up on CNN. This has been brought up on Associated Press. It's been brought up on ABC News, of course, Reuters, Bloomberg, Seattle Times, KCBS, Washington Examiner, Kiro 7, International Business Times, KUOW 94.9. The Amazon Flex driver lawsuit is only the beginning, and it's going to get a lot worse for Amazon unless they decide to really start being transparent. I currently don't believe that Amazon is going to ever be transparent. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but everything I've seen with them has always been a debacle. And that's just what I've seen through personal experience and business experience. They just seem to play around with games to waste people's time in the effect that you're going to get, let's say, annoyed and just figure, oh, I don't even want to bother. So definitely do bother. And if you are being taken advantage of by Amazon or another delivery service company, fight back. Your rights are important. And not only does fighting back help you, but it helps the hundreds or the thousands of other people that they think it's okay to exploit. And number 2 for this week, Spotify. So Spotify tests out a new concept, a $5.99 premium to give perks and ticket sales. Spotify is experimenting with this $5.99 premium tier that offers exclusive content such as ticket sales and additional perks for subscribers. With increasing competition from Apple Music and YouTube Music, this move could reshape how users access concerts and special content. But will the subscription model catch on, or will users push back against another streaming thing? I don't know. I mean, I think this is interesting, what's going on with Spotify. But will it last? I mean, that's really the question. Will it last? And Spotify Premium Student with Hulu with ads is out too. So trying Spotify Premium Student free for 1 month is okay. And then it's $5.99 per month after that. So the offer currently includes access to Hulu with ads plan, subject to eligibility. Offer available only to students at an accredited higher institution for education. So this is one thing they're doing right now. And so people say, why did I get a charge from Spotify? Well, this is just an authorization charge to confirm the payment method is valid, but in the future, they will be able to charge you. So that's why they're doing. So do you agree with the new, $5.99 perk? I'm going to call it a perk upgrade fee. Do you agree with that? Or do you think it's garbage? I mean, that's really the best way to say it. I mean, they're trying to make this sound like it's the best thing, right? But my question is is it really as good as they're saying it is, or are they not being transparent? And I think it sounds really good on the outside. Like I said, they're supposed to launch this. They call it Music Pro Service with Superfan. And it's supposed to give you basically early access to tickets. And there's an AI remix tool for just $5.99 a month. This is another thing they're doing. And Spotify's long touted Superfan tier appears to be taking shape and could be launched sometime this year. So, the question is it really worth all these benefits? I mean, this is the question. Is the 599 perk worth it, or is it not worth it? So many people have said they'd be willing to pay money for it. Other people said they wouldn't. Many people want the ability to randomize their music when they hit the shuffle button. Sounds like a very simple concept, but they can't do that right now. So I think it's getting people to realize that there might be other options out there. But my question to you is, would you pay 5.99 more plus additional fees and taxes? Should we pay more money? Everyone says if you want the full experience, then the premium subscription is the way to go. But really, is it? I mean, there's more stuff to stream with a massive set of audiobook libraries, better audio quality, they say, and offline listening. But is this enough? I mean, there's so many places you can get free content to stream. And so let's just break this down, all right? So Spotify free gives you a lot of options, okay? Spotify premium gives you more options. So what do you get? So on Spotify free, you get a diverse content library. You get all the features. You get the ads removed. You get playback control, so you can go forward, back, stop, etc. You have the ability to change the sound quality. You can also download it so you can listen later offline without being connected to Wi-Fi or the internet, right? So, basically, they have something called Spotify Student now, which is $4.99 a month. Then they have something called Spotify Premium, which is $9.99 a month. Then they have something called Spotify Family, which is $15.99 a month. If you ask me, it sounds really, really confusing. And I think they're doing this because a lot of other streaming companies are starting to do the same exact thing. And so this is why they're doing it. I mean, they're willing to give you a free month. Yeah, so what? And Spotify Premium Student claims to allow students to listen to millions of songs offline and without ad interruptions. Making and sharing your own playlists, they claim to be very easy. And so this is going to hopefully attract more people. But would you pay another, like I said, $5.99 a month? Would you? And is this deal going to stop at $5.99 a month, or are they going to find some way to boost it up? I don't know. They're also saying the fact that you're going to get, a higher quality of sound, right? So again, the individual account, which is $0 for 1 month, and then it's $11.99 per month. You get one premium account. You can cancel anytime. You get 15 hours a month of listening time from their audiobooks subscriber catalog. If you do the premium student feature, it's $0 for the first month and $5.99 for each additional month. So you get one verified premium account. You get discount for eligible students. You get access to Hulu, and you cancel anytime. On the Duo plan, you get 2 premium accounts, cancel anytime, 15 hours a month of listening time from their audiobooks, catalogs, etc. On the family plan, it's $19.99. You get up to 6 premium or kids accounts, control content marked as explicit, access to Spotify Kids, cancel anytime, and 15 hours a month of listening time for many of their audio books. So, I think what they're trying to do is get people more enticed with the content they're offering. But I don't know if people are going to want to pay for Spotify all the time when there's so many other free services that you can actually use online. All right, number 3. Mr. President Trump in the U.S. says no to foreign firms running Intel factories and this is a problem. So President Donald Trump has voiced strong opposition to allowing foreign companies to operate Intel's US-based semiconductor plants. I agree with him. With national security concerns at the forefront, he believes American tech infrastructure should remain under the U.S. control. This stance could impact global semiconductor production and U.S. relations with foreign chip makers, such as TSMC, Taiwan, Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. So I think, when the U.S. owns a building and we don't actually own the business, and to kind of step back, what do I mean by this? So if you've ever been to a business, whether it's a dry cleaners, whether it's a restaurant, a lot of times the restaurant or the dry cleaners or wherever you're visiting doesn't own the building that they're in. All they have is their business. Now, if you spend billions of dollars putting up a building and then you're going to potentially lose because you don't own the business and don't have any say over something that could be majorly affecting the population of the United States, I think that's a serious problem. And I think we as a country need to look at that, not just from, let's say, the security standpoint, but the fact that, hey, it might be robbing us from money that other companies could be getting from other areas. And I think that's a big problem. Number 4, TikTok returns to U.S. app stores as the ban is supposedly delayed. In a surprising turn, TikTok has made a comeback in the United States in the app stores after its potential ban was postponed. The delay gives ByteDance time to address concerns over data security and national security risks, which millions of users dependent on the platform are concerned about. And this move raises questions about whether TikTok will ever face a permanent ban. This is an interesting question. Will TikTok ever be banned, or is this just going to be this continuing saga? I don't know. And everyone asks me, when will TikTok get banned? And I think they're still in this whole quandary. So right now, TikTok was delayed by President Trump's executive order until April 4th, 2025. That's not too long from now, is it? The Protecting Americans procedure from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, actually it's the PAFACA, that's the Protecting Americans from Adversary Controlled Applications Act, PAFACA. It was signed into law by President Biden in April 2024. The law gives the government the power to ban foreign-owned apps that it considers a threat to national security. The law was upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court on January 17, 2025. TikTok shut down its service for U.S. users on January 18, 2025. Trump issued an executive order on January 19, 2025, delaying the ban for 75 days. TikTok restored service in the United States a little over 12 hours after the ban was scheduled to take effect. The ban is due to a national security concern over TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance. Lawmakers worry that the Chinese government could access Americans' data through TikTok. And now Mr. President wants to make it a financial deal. So saying that TikTok is worth, 200 million? And so that's with the algorithm. And then the United States getting 100 million. But if we don't take the algorithm, it's 40 million. So there's a lot to be discussed there. And we're just going to have to kind of see. But I hope people understand the consequences of reinstating TikTok. I think it should be under an agreement where the United States has basically the ability to police and monitor it and get some fees for it. So I think that's a great idea. And if they do step out of line, then that means that the entire deal can be shut down at any time. Amazon. Yes, Amazon's up again, and they face a $1.2 billion pound tax evasion probe in Italy. Italian authorities are investing Amazon for their investigation, I should say, of Amazon for tax evasion worth an estimated 1.2 billion pounds. So the probe centers around allegations that Amazon exploited tax loopholes to avoid paying its fair share. If found guilty, Amazon could face heavy penalties and tighter regulations in Europe. This case highlights the growing scrutiny on tech giants dodging taxes. So you might say, well, gee, why? And the question I say is, well, look, we just talked about the fact that they're trying to exploit their drivers and steal that money. So heck, why wouldn't they not steal money from the government, right? And whether it's US or whether it's international, they don't care. They don't care who they're robbing. And I think a tighter scrutiny is something that is not just something that would be, I'm going to say, a luxury. It should be a requirement because too many of these companies feel that because they've got so much money, they can just do whatever they want. We learned this from Google, right? Amazon. I mean, look what's happening. Google's getting hit with so much. Even Apple's getting hit, right? All these companies that have so much money, well, the money can't buy them the fact that they can do whatever they want at any time and exploit people or the data to which belongs to those people. So number 6, ladies and gentlemen, that is Tesla. We haven't talked about Tesla in a while, but the Cybertruck crash raises autopilot concerns. A Tesla Cybertruck crash has sparked renewed fears about the company's autopilot technology. The incident, which involved a Cybertruck operating with driver assist features, has raised concerns about the safety of Tesla's AI-powered driving system. As investigations unfold, many are questioning whether self-driving tech is progressing too quickly for public roads. I have to agree with that. I think it's like people want to get this technology out there. Why? Because they know it's going to put a lot of money in their pocket. But they don't seem to be very concerned about the well-being of the population and the people in our world. And it's because money talks, right? And that's a bad thing. So we as Americans, as citizens, as people anywhere in the world, have to make sure that the technology being rolled out is something that is going to be safe, whether you're in a production capacity, whether you're in a financial capacity and you're the one that would be loaning money to them, or whether you're just a consumer. You have a voice and you definitely have a right to make sure it gets heard. So this Tesla Cybertruck crash is it's unbelievable. I mean, there was a guy when I posted something on social media the other day said to me, "Yeah, but you see how many planes have crashed?" Well, I'm sorry, you don't compare it to planes, okay? So the Tesla Cybertruck has received, they claim, a 5-star safety rating from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, but the concerns remain. So tell me this, explain this to me, because I don't get this. How does the Tesla Cybertruck get a 5-star safety rating and then now say there's some concerns? Like, how do they even award that thing? What do they do? Just look at it on paper? Are they even trying it out themselves? So the Tesla Cybertruck has energy absorbing ribs in the front and rear to dissipate energy during a crash. The Cybertruck's front underbody casting is designed to break into small pieces to reduce occupant impact. And the safety concerns, the Cybertruck's stiff structure and sharp design may hurt pedestrians and cyclists. The Cybertruck's stiff structure may damage other vehicles on the road. The Cybertruck's lack of a clear coat leaves it vulnerable to scratches and corrosion. Other safety concerns, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said that he is highly confident the Cybertruck will be safer than other trucks for occupants and pedestrians. The Cybertruck's stainless steel exterior is more resistant to dents and dings than most other vehicles. So, of course, you can watch all these great safety videos saying that the Cybertruck is fantastic. But anybody can position something in the right light. Let's take computers, for example. We can say one computer is better than the other, or we could say one car is better than the other. But if we don't specify the criterion for what makes it better, then better is just like a moot point, as there's no way to quantify it. There's no benchmark. It's better than what? Because it's faster, because it's safer, because it's cheaper, because it's more environmentally friendly. What are we testing on? And my big question about these road safeties is how, and this is a good question, how do we make sure that Tesla Autopilot is safe? And I think that's a big concern for a lot of Americans. They claim it's designed to be safe when used responsibly, with the driver remaining in control of the vehicle at all times. Okay, so you just said you built a vehicle that is safe, okay? And then they also claim that the driver needs to read the owner's manual. And you need to keep your eyes on the road, keep your hands on the steering wheel, drive attentively. Okay, that's the driver responsibility. The autopilot features basically are leading to things like automatic emergency braking, detecting obstacles and applying the brake, forward collision warning, alerting you to potential collisions, lane departure avoidance. We've seen this for a while, correcting the steering to keep you in your lane. Traffic aware cruise control, maintaining a safe distance. So if you, let's say, are driving up and let's say it's getting too close, it automatically slows down or automatically brakes your car. And of course, there are auto performance issues like dirty cameras or sensors that can affect the autopilot performance. Environmental conditions like rain or faded lane markings can affect autopilot. Autopilot may not steer around objects partially in a lane. I know on one of my vehicles, that's an SUV, a luxury SUV, the car will not engage cruise control if the conditions are bad. That means it's raining, if it's too foggy, if it can't get a benchmark within a few seconds, it will not engage cruise control. It will just give you an error. So I think those are good things, but I think the Tesla is a good concept on paper, but I feel it needs a lot of research and development. And of course, Tesla doesn't want to hear this because by me saying this and by other people saying this, it's going to potentially offset the potential income that they could get. So of course they're going to say, "Oh, it's fine." But I made the decision many years ago, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I told you this story that I had a deposit down on a Tesla. This was just around the COVID time, and they never have any refunds. Well, I went back to Tesla when I heard about a friend of mine's best friend who basically lost his life from smashing a window to get out of the car because he was entrapped. Or how about the lady who was at one of the drive-thrus? I think it was Chick-fil-A. She went there and, you know, she thought she would just do the quick update. It was very hot, and she's now basically roasting herself because she's in the car over 60 minutes. Because if she opens the car any earlier than she's allowed to, she could potentially damage the vehicle. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I mean, Tesla should not lock you into a car. I mean, why can't you do the update regardless of whether the car's door is open? I mean, come on, guys. This isn't like, the 1800s. We're in the 2000s. We're in the technology era. I think we can do a little better than that. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually update an iPhone if you're still on the Wi-Fi, and you can walk around with it up until the point when it needs to reboot. Now, you can still walk around with it. You just can't make and receive phone calls. So, I have to, let's say that this needs more work. That's just the best way to put that. And number 7 for the week, Apple is accused of app tracking abuse in Germany. This is pretty hot. Germany has filed charges against Apple over allegations that the company violated app tracking regulations. So Apple, which touts its commitment to privacy, is accused of using data tracking methods that breach the European privacy laws. If they are found guilty, the case could force Apple to make a significant change to its App Store policies across the European Union. So the question you might be asking is, why is Germany coming after Apple for tracking issues? And to understand this a little deeper, Germany is taking action against Apple regarding the tracking issues because the antitrust regulator, the Bundesdorf FCO, believes Apple's app tracking transparency, they call it the ATT framework, gives Apple an unfair advantage by potentially allowing them to apply stricter tracking rules to third-party apps while giving their own apps more leeway, which could be considered self-preferencing and a violation of competition laws. Essentially, Apple is accused of setting different tracking standards for its own apps compared to those of other developers on the App Store. So, this would be like if you are in, let's say, in industry and you're getting tickets to go to a concert and you're getting special privileges to get tickets because you have friends in the band, fine. But now Ticketmaster and let's say other sites are preferencing who gets better tickets from the general public based on the fact of how much money I spend in tickets sales for the year, or what county I'm from, right? Or what my ethnicity or background is. That'd be wrong, wouldn't it? So I think this is going to be a very interesting situation. I don't know if it was done intentionally, but the app, which they call the App Tracking Transparency, ATT, this feature on the iOS allows users to choose whether apps can track their activity across different platforms, which Apple has marketed as a privacy focused initiative. Concerns about self preferencing, the German regulator suspects that Apple might be using ATT to benefit its own apps by allowing them more flexibility with tracking while imposing strict limitations on third-party apps. They suspect, they don't even know. If German investigation finds Apple guilty of this anti-competitive practice, they could face significant fines and be required to change their app tracking policies. So we don't know, but it's like, you probably know this from school, right? If you're suddenly taking a test and the test is supposed to end at a certain time, or you're supposed to have, let's say, an open book, or you're supposed to have one, let's say, piece of paper that can be typed or handwritten both sides, and suddenly somebody comes in and brings their paper in, and yours is handwritten, others are typed, but now somebody else's is typed so small that it's like size 3, and then they bring a magnifying glass in. So now the one student comes back and says, hey, that's unfair. Joe gets to bring a cheat sheet in, like to go look through stuff. How come we don't? Well, you do too. Yeah, but look what he did. He made his font to size 3, and then he got a magnifying glass. Well, you could have done that. Well, you didn't tell us we could. So that becomes a debacle right there. And I think those are concerns. Will that affect how well somebody does in the test? I don't know. But if, let's say, I scored more and I was the one with that special, very minuscule sheet with the magnifying glass, everyone in the class is going to say that it wasn't fair. All right. Speculation, perspective, maybe, but it's still going to cause some rage. Number 8, Meta. Yes, fined by the European Union again. An impact on ad rivals. The European Union has fined Meta for anti-competitive advertising practices. What's new? Shaking up the digital ad industry, rivals argue that Meta's dominance stifles competition and limits fair pricing for ad space. So this fine is part of a larger push by the European Union regulators to rein in big tech's influence on digital advertising markets. That's a big challenge. And the question is Meta going to be found guilty? Well, we know in the past that Meta was found guilty on a lot of things, okay? And it's funny how they just kind of ignored them and, swept them right under the carpet. Meta Platforms Inc. is prying open its previously guarded Facebook marketplace platform to a swath of classified ads rivals in a renewed attempt to comply with a landmark European Union antitrust order that was accompanied by £798 million or $829 million. And again, they're doing this kind of under their breath, but they really have to, or they could be in deep trouble with the courts. So all because of the European Union. The European Union seems to be very smart. I wish the United States would be as, let's say, aggressive as they are, but they're not. So all these companies that were like, wowing and dazzling us, I always knew that there was a slight potential that they probably were doing something wrong, or shall we say illegal or deceptive. Lots of ways we can frame that, right? Well, number 9, ARM and Meta team up for a new chip project. Yes, the chip designer ARM is collaborating with Meta on a next-generation processor aimed at powering AI applications. Now, this partnership could lead to breakthroughs in AI efficiency, allowing for faster, more powerful machine learning models with AI at the center of tech innovation. This project could shape the future of smart devices and cloud computing. What is it going to mean? Well, only time is going to tell. And the question is, are they doing something legal or are they going to get caught? Well, we all know that if they do something wrong, we know that they're going to get burned. So I would hope that they are doing the right thing this time. But, your guess and my guess is all we've got right now. The plan represents a move away from SoftBank-owned group licensing its chip blueprints to firms such as Apple and NVIDIA. Very, very interesting technology. The British semiconductor designer ARM is reportedly planning to launch its own chip this year after landing Meta as one of its first customers. The move represents a major overhaul of the SoftBank's own group's business model of licensing its chip blueprints to the likes of Apple and NVIDIA. Rene Haas, ARM's chief executive, is set to unveil the first in-house chip as early as this summer. And this is according to a report that was speculated in the Financial Times, citing people familiar with the plans and were aware of the situation. Now, more than 300 billion chips based on ARM's designs have been shipped since the company was founded in 1990, with almost all the world's smartphones being based on ARM technology. Now, moving from designing chips to making its own complete processor could also put ARM into competition with some of the biggest customers in the 500 billion pound semiconductor industry. ARM, of course, did not want to comment on this, and I'm sure we're going to see shares of their stock rising. The Financial Times also reported that the launch of ARM's own chip is one step in a larger plan by SoftBank's founder, Masayoshi Son, to make more money from its own intellectual property by moving into AI chip production and building a vast infrastructure network for artificial intelligence. So last month alone, Sun unveiled his Stargate initiative with OpenAI, which will spend an estimated $400 billion in the building of the AI infrastructure with Abu Dhabi State from the fund of MGX and Oracle, also providing funding, and ARM as a key technology partner alongside Microsoft and NVIDIA. So ARM's chip is expected to be a central processing unit for servers in large data centers and customizable for clients, including Meta. Does this mean that this is going to rival Intel? I don't know. But I know that things are going to change and they're going to get hot pretty quick. Another deal integral to ARM's chip-making project is SoftBank's expected acquisition of Ampere, an Oracle-backed chip designer of ARM-based chips for servers that could be valued close to 6.5, you ready, ladies and gentlemen? 6.5 billion or 5.15 billion pounds. Cambridge headquartered ARM has more than doubled in value to 173 billion since it's listed on the NASDAQ in 2023. So we're going to have to see what happens. Are you going to invest in a company like this, or are you going to wait around? But I know one thing. If we start making chips in the United States, okay, or at least in Canada, and Trump had petitioned that Canada eventually be part of the United States, that could make things a lot easier for trade, commerce, and also the fact that they won't be subject to those really high surcharges for, export. And number 10, India, yes, in steps to the mediation portion of Samsung's labor dispute. The Indian government is mediating a labor dispute at Samsung's factories after worker strikes over unfair wages and poor working conditions. Now, this move could impact Samsung's production timeline for upcoming devices, including the next Galaxy series. If tension escalates enough, Samsung may be forced to rethink its labor policies in India. Yeah, I think that's going to be a serious problem, so we'll have to definitely keep you aware on that. And number 11, dating. Yes, is it really going to face some troubles? What's next? So major dating apps like Tinder and Bumble are experiencing a decline in user engagement and revenue. Rising concerns over safety, fake profiles, and shifting social behaviors have left these platforms struggling to retain users. The industry must adapt And could AI driven matchmaking be the next big thing? Yes, but there's something else that everyone's thinking about. And that's the fact of connecting with people where there's already a bond made. Those run other type of hobby platforms. Things like if you're playing a video game with someone, or maybe you're taking a class with someone online in some type of environment. This might be where future generations, maybe even some of the previous generations, come to date, because we all know that dating apps, well, they could get you into hot water and give you a lot more than what you bargained for. And the person that you're connecting with, let's just say, might have very different intentions than what you're expecting. So, this is where things are going right now. It's dating in a new type of world. And this world involves using, I'll call it, these applications. So, the Generation Z is turning to what we call hobby based platforms like gaming, fitness apps, and even film communities to find friendship, love in a more organic, low pressure way. Instead of swiping left or right, uh, they're meeting through shared interest in games like World of Warcraft, running clubs via Strava, and movie discussions on Letterboxd, and so many other things. Um, this is an interesting thing, and this shift reflects a broader desire for the fact that people do want authenticity. I think this is starting to shout out very loud and very clear that I think the world has had enough of nonsense and quote unquote, no pun there, games of these apps. I think the only person that's benefiting from these quote unquote dating apps are the people that actually create them. If you look at where they're made, they're not in the United States. They usually bill you, and whenever you get billed for them, there's another surcharge. It's like if they were made here in the United States and there were problems with them, there'd be a lot of lawsuits. Trying to sue an app developer in another country, well, let's just say that's kind of, going, down a river without a paddle to help yourself back up. So I think the world is tired of dating apps. And I think now it's about this authenticity, this truth, and this realism that wasn't around before. You don't fake a profile when you create a game avatar, or when you're going for an online educational course, right? Or maybe you're going into a movie club. You put who you are. And when you connect with, let's say, stories about adventure, or maybe thrill, or maybe it's a love story, those are the kind of people you might want to hang out with and at least start being friends with. And here's an interesting one that I think you're going to find a little bit different. Noise canceling headphones. Are they affecting young people's hearing? So, a new study suggests that excessive use of noise canceling headphones may be affecting young people's hearing by reducing their ability to detect everyday sounds. Experts warn that prolonged exposure at high volumes could contribute to long term hearing damage. Should regulations be introduced to limit headphone decibel levels? Yes. So here's the thing. I use noise canceling headphones all the time, don't have any challenges with them, have excellent hearing. And so it comes down to the fact that you've got to respect your hearing. Whether you've got noise canceling headphones on, or whether you've got, speakers in your car or wherever you are, it's important that you respect decibel levels for your ears. So while we're on this, what is the safe sound decibel for hearing? And so, in general, the louder the sound, the faster, the noise will develop. So, sound is measured in what we call decibels. Sounds at or below 70A weighted decibels are generally safe. Long or repeat exposure to sounds at 85 decibels can cause hearing loss. So, the question when we think about decibels, right, and we think about noise levels, let's just kind of go through a couple of these, because I think this is something that is very interesting for a lot of us. So, a breath is 10 decibels. Rustle of leaves is 20 decibels. A whisper is 30 decibels. A refrigerator is 40 decibels. Rain is 50 decibels. Chatting is about 60 decibels. Your car is 70 decibels. A truck is 80 decibels. A hairdryer is 90 decibels. A helicopter is 100 decibels. A trombone is 110 decibels. A police siren is 120 decibels. A jet engine's 130 decibels, and fireworks are 140 decibels. So I think we need to just realize that we don't need to have sound that loud. We really don't. And you see, the closer you are to the actual sound, the more the decibels are going to be. The further away from the sound, guess what? The less of decibels you're going to hear. So I think it's our responsibility as humans to take care of our ears, right? Do we look in the sun? No, of course not. So we shouldn't need a law that says we have to regulate. I think people just need to take better care of their hearing. I mean, that's just the bottom line, right? Audiologists can say this, and other doctors can say this, and young people can say this, and musicians can say this. But at the end of the day, experts suggest that blocking everyday sounds may weaken the brain's ability to filter noise naturally. So we need to be that filter. Noise canceling headphones help protect ears from loud sounds, but it doesn't mean that we have the right to suddenly blast noise so loud because they're noise canceling. They're just as dangerous as hearing sounds in the world. In fact, we have got to be a little more careful because when we got things so close to our ears, we have to make sure they're even softer, right? Number 13, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube AI, or shall we call it the drunk dialing of AI? So, how a drunk dialing computer unveils YouTube's secrets. Researchers have uncovered surprising insights into YouTube's vast and secretive ecosystem using a tool that randomly generates video URLs similar to drunk dialing. um, Despite YouTube's dominance, Google remains tight-lipped about key statistics like the total number of videos or how much content people watch. By analyzing over 10,000 randomly discovered videos, researchers estimate YouTube now hosts nearly 15 billion videos, with most receiving little attention. 4% have never been watched, and the median video garners are just 41 views. Their findings challenge perceptions of YouTube as a hub for influencers, revealing that the majority of content is low production, short, and barely seen, which is actually pretty sad. And I don't know if you guys know this, ladies and gentlemen, but the UK space firm wins a 127 million pound satellite system contract. A UK based aerospace company has secured a 127 million pound contract to develop a next gen satellite system. And this project will enhance global communications and improve disaster response capabilities. With space tech advancing rapidly, this contract could position the UK as a major player in satellite technology. And Meta launches a new Facebook Marketplace Partner Program. Meta has introduced a Facebook Marketplace Partner Program to help small businesses sell more effectively on the platform. The program includes tools for automated listings, AI-driven recommendations, and expanded reach. Will this help businesses thrive, or is it another way for Meta to dominate e-commerce? I have to say, I've never trusted Meta's tools in the past. It feels like every time something works, they take it down. They just want people to be putting more money in the slot machine, as I like to say. I'm not a gambler, but they like to keep putting more money in the slot machine in the hope that you're going to get something. Because every time something works, it seems like they just take it down. So that's really a very, very big problem. And I think the last thing I want to talk about today, and it's a pretty interesting thing, and that's the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that bots are everywhere. So bots rule the web, don't they? It's a serious problem. Now, a significant portion, nearly half of all internet activity is generated by bots, whether you knew that or not, many of which are powered by AI. And this surge presents considerable risks, including phishing attacks, harm to brand reputation, and exploitation of security weakness. So to counter these AI threats, it's essential to implement mitigation strategies such as multi-factor authentication and detailed behavioral analysis of web traffic. So I think these are good things to think about. And I think understanding that AI is not good and AI is not bad. It's a tool, and how we choose to use it, makes it so. So when you think about, the fact that, you can go online and somebody say, oh, gee, you can buy all this traffic. Think again. because not only could you be hurting your reputation with the platform that you're working with, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, X, or TikTok, you could also be creating a fake net of people if you don't get banned first. And that fake net of people is going to make you think that they're interested when really they're not. Uh, I've had friends that have paid money to get subscribers for their podcasts and stuff. Don't do it. They get a surge all of a sudden, and you know what happens? It drops right away. And then when they question, they said, "Well, you ask them if you tell them you would like to compensate them based on, let's say retention, they're going to walk away because they know that they cannot guarantee you traffic. They just blast you out. And I think that is like the worst thing that anybody could do. So we've got to be cognizant about these things. That is probably the most important thing. Now, when we think about some of these things that we talked about today, right? They're game changing, right? They're absolutely game changing. I mean, Amazon, the fact that they're exploiting their drivers, and Spotify now trying to, let's say, lure you into another $5.99 premium so you could probably get some perks or maybe some early ticket sales, which may or may not even be worth it. And I like the fact that Trump wants to try to go back and regain control, because I think it's a problem that we have given away too much of our control to other countries because we feel I had a situation today. I was actually in a store, and the thing was, there was this agreement. I was actually helping my mom upgrade her iPhone. She was getting this free iPhone. Well, the thing about the iPhone is the one she was getting it was like $830. It was the iPhone 16. I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I had just done one from my dad last month in December. And so December, so 2 months ago. And so when we were in the store and we were going through everything, I wanted the free phone. So you get the free phone. Here's how it works. They rebate you the credit of the new phone. So when you give the old one in, they give you the AR30, but they give it to you in credit. So you're not paying for the phone as long as you're with them for 36 months. It used to be 1 year, then it was 2 years. Now it's 36 months. But here's another little thing they do. When you sign the agreement, they now have a little clause in there that states that you're also agreeing to keeping your credit card on file. See, it's like they loop you into things. And the only way that we win is by filing complaints or by exposing this. Other people say, hey, did you see what they did? And of course, they're going to say that, they can't do anything. But when push comes to shove, if you don't like something, you can go back and you can challenge it. It is your right. Absolutely is your right. So we've talked about a lot of artificial intelligence stuff today. We've talked about the fact that all these innovations that are starting to appear around us, from the Cybertruck to things in Germany, the thing with the ARM deal. I think it just comes back to one main thing. Even the UK fines that are hitting these other companies, right? In Italy, possibly finding Amazon. I think it comes back and saying that it doesn't matter whether you have 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion, 1 zillion, or infinite amounts of money, right? It doesn't matter. If you do something wrong, you are going to pay the piper. And it might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be this week. It might not be next week. It might not be next month. It might not even be this year. But here's the thing, and here's the promise. It's gonna come out. And when it does, the longer it takes to come out, the more you're probably going to get hit with charges and fines. And I know as we talk a lot about these things that are happening to these companies, things that, you figure, well, nothing can penetrate these companies. Well, when you hit them in their pockets, they don't quite like that. And we've seen how quiet Facebook has gotten, right? When we find them guilty on something, it's like they just kind of put their head under the covers, just like leave me alone. And, when we talk about trouble, like I said, for the dating apps, I think that's something that a lot of people don't want to admit because they want to know, what's the right way to do this? Because the way that people have been doing it for so long has been like a norm. But, the fact that things like World of Warcraft and um, connections, I think those are great ideas. And I think the point of internet dating is turning to more or less not application dating, but hobby dating. And so hobby dating allows you to pick different apps. Um, and these apps allow you to get to know somebody even before they may or may not be an interest to you. But it doesn't mean that you suddenly reveal every single thing about yourself on the app, okay? Or in the world. Like if you go to play a game of chess with somebody, right? And you're in a chess club, do you just tell them everything about you the first time you play chess? No. You probably talk about chess. How did we get started with chess, right? Too many of these apps, they get too personal too fast. And what I have seen is that the moment you try to slow them down, like, hey, let's meet for a cup of coffee, do you know what they do? They go block. And sometimes they go report. Because the people on the apps right now, who's being attracted to these apps, they're not the people you and I would want to date. We think we'd want to date them, but actually it's not. It's actually a facade. We want to connect with people that know, like, and trust who they are, and that are going to respect themselves and respect others. That might sound like something very common, but unfortunately, common sense is getting like thrown out the window. And so the more I ponder about artificial intelligence, I ponder about apps, I ponder about the fact of where artificial intelligence is, let's say, teleporting us, because that's what AI is doing. It's teleporting us to a place that's more advanced. We're able to take data. We're going to see things happening with quantum computing not too far off in the next, I'm going to say, less than a decade or so away. And just the whole idea of things coming full circle, like quantum physics and stuff like that. And again, that seems like a really interesting thing. But when we cross this pathway, we have to be very, very careful of what it is that we are actually paying attention to and how we're responding and how we're reacting. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always such a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys. Not just today on my birthday, February 21st, but every single day, night, and evening that I'm here. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Thank you so much for all of your great wishes and for continuing to watch the show. And, of course, for just taking all this information in and making the choice to apply it to your life, so you can become just a little better than you were before. Take care, everyone. And remember, technology is not good. It's not bad. It's a tool. It's how we choose to use it that makes it so.